Danny Green.
Yeah,
what about him?
You've been watching NBA this year?
I'm never going to watch NBA any years.
I don't know why you're so anti-NBA. I just got done telling you, man. Olynyk has embraced being like the big, slow white guy in the league.
I like college basketball, and I can name where all those guys went to college basketball, so I'm okay with that, but the rest, NBA's garbage.
We're definitely talking about Joel Berry tonight. Hope you're ready for that.
It's my boy.
Nice. Well, let's get loaded.
Chippy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me back to the old days. Drinking beer by the baseball field.
Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first because we finish last. Sex.
Thank you for listening to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben. That is DJ. And if we get done with this in time, it's early Christmas for you guys because it's coming out on a Wednesday.
Shit, son. I'm fucking release it a day early. You're welcome.
Well, you know why we had to release it a day early? It's because everyone and their brother is going to be watching that Dolphins-Ravens Thursday night football game.
Yeah, I know. That's a tough. That's going to be a game to watch. Let me tell you what. Tune in.
12-9 might be my bold prediction. I know we're gonna.
I don't even have a bold prediction. I always forget the bold prediction segment, and I'm just spring it on. I just fucking come up with something while you say yours.
I hit mine. Elliott missed his by about 56 yards, and you missed yours by a Packers win last week.
Yeah, that one was tough.
Well, this here is the Week 8 NFL preview pod. We'll do our pick 6 against the spread segment pick. We'll talk daily fantasy, whatever else we get to. So, DJ, you want to knock it out with your first Matt Berry segment?
Matthew Berry. Fuck Matthew Berry, love-hate tracker, where I talk about how much I hate his loves. Not his hates, just his loves. Love, hate the love. You know what I'm saying? I like to fucking mix it up. Let's go, fuck boys. Love week 4. Yeah, I'm going actually week 7. So we got
week 4.
You know how you get somebody a teleprompter and they just read what is on there? I just did that.
That's what you did, yeah.
First off, again, he's taking the easy way out. He's been a bitch, probably braving his pussy heart for adding a couple of guys on his love hates this week. So this week he had Matt Ryan, big miss, sucked against the Patriots.
One touchdown at the very end.
Yeah, who brought that fog in, according to Julio Jones, which I guess I wouldn't put past Bill Belichick. They probably have like a machine bringing that shit in.
I'm not even sure that game happened.
I couldn't. Honestly, the best thing about that game is when they went to the Sky Cam. I think every fucking game should be like that. That was awesome. You can see everything open up in front of you.
Yeah, you should at least get the option. Like, you could get the option to click.
You know how bad a quarterback actually is, because like, I remember just watching Julio. I'm like, hit him, and then he did. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I can see where he's gonna throw it before he does.
Can we talk about that Julio Jones touchdown catch for a second?
Yeah.
How that ball probably should have just been picked off if it had been to any other receiver, and Julio legit just grabbed it and like ripped that guy's arms so fast. Just like, that's years of being ignored in the red zone frustration coming out in one play.
They don't throw it to him in the red zone, and like, you see every reason why you should. And
right.
You're just like, yeah, you fucking idiots, this is what I do.
Yep, that was an obvious one.
All right, moving on. Adrian Peterson, big time miss. I told everybody, as many people as I could, is like, trade him after that last week. Like, trade him. I said again, I had a guy tell me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're an idiot. You kept him. He fucked up. 21 yards. Big miss. He's going to continue to be that bad. I don't see it getting any better.
That was like a classic letdown pick. Why is he going with Adrian Peterson there? People got to start listening to us. We, like you said, you said trade the guy. Get rid of him now. Yeah,
exactly. And then Des Bryant was a hit. So only 3. That puts him up to – he's slowly sucking. So far – he has 22 of 62 total picks on the year. So I don't know what that is for a batting average, but it's not good.
No, 1 out of 3 or so. So that's what he did this week. So he probably has just been doing that the entire year.
Yeah, so that's like going 22 of 62 in like a a slow pitch softball limited arc league.
Right. Well, let's move on to where you're sucking. The pick six against the spread segment. You got to turn this around, and
I always do.
I'm slowly fading though. That's my problem. So
faded.
Drank. Last week I went 1-1-1. You went 0-3. I think I don't remember what Elliott went. I think he might have went 2-0-1. So at least we gave you some picks that were right there. So for the year, I'm hitting 55%. You're hitting 43%. But week 8 is the week to turn it around. I heard this.
I hope everybody took the under in the Rams game. What game did I tell everybody to take the under in that I didn't take it in that I was picking?
Oh, the Giants game?
Was that what it is? The Giants-Seahawks game.
Seahawks, yeah.
Yeah, as I was saying it, I realized, maybe I should take the under. So I hope people listen to that part at least.
Yeah, well, let's hear what you got for week 8.
Okay, what do I got? I've got Chicago going to New Orleans getting +9. After watching New Orleans play Green Bay, they just did play very well. And Green Bay, with Aaron Rodgers, would have beat them by about 72 points. And they had a chance to win that game. They just didn't look very good. Chicago's defense has been solid. Trubisky, he only threw it 7 times, so I guess I don't know how he is. And they're just going to run it. They're going to run the ball. That's what they're going to do. And so I think they have the ability to keep more off balance than what Green Bay was able to do. Unfortunately, I hate that I have to put Chicago and Green Bay are on the same level. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that
sucks. I think my mood just turned real fast. I like Chicago +9 big time at New Orleans. I think it's another one where they can squeak out a win. I don't think the Saints are good. They do this where they look good for a couple of games and they suck balls for a couple of games. So
I think if they can get Howard going the way the Packers were able to get Aaron Jones going right away, that's going to be clutch, because if they get down, like you said, Trubisky just had a game where he threw the ball 7 times. And if you get down to the Saints, who can put up some points, that's a recipe for disaster, and they might win by double digits.
And honestly, I think Trubisky is better than Brett Hundley. I'd rather have Trubisky, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that, too. I also think the Bears' defense is a little underrated, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In their secondary. So I don't think the Saints are just going to have their way with them.
No,
so that is a pretty big number. It's just, you just run the risk of, the Saints are a good offense, whereas the Bears, if they become one-dimensional and have to start just passing, then it can get ugly with a rookie quarterback. So I'm a little hesitant on that one. I wouldn't be betting on it, but I see what your angle is.
Okay, so next I took Tampa Bay and Carolina, and what I wrote was way over 46. I'm thinking they jumped 60 points in this game. Tampa Bay can't stop the pass to save their lives. Plus, they like to air it out. I see this back and forth. I think this at the end of the first quarter could be somewhere around 14, 17.
So this is one of those start Cam Newton weeks, is what you're telling me.
Yes, I honestly would, because Tampa Bay's secondary is awful. They just give up yards on yards on yards on yards. And then, Tampa Bay has got too much weaponry, too much armory in order to not score a good amount of points to keep up. If they can score on Buffalo, they're going to score easily on Carolina.
God, you'd
think
so.
It's going to be a back-and-forth game. So 46, I think, is way too low. I'm thinking more like 52. You give me 46 points, I think they're going to be in the 60s. I think the over on 52. So I love that pick. I think that I haven't done a lock before, but I think that I'm going to put that down as a lock for this week.
Ooh, I might go the other way then.
Okay.
Play the odds.
Then I'm taking Oakland +2.5 at Buffalo. I did this early in the year where I was betting on Cam Newton against the Lions, and I got on Cam Newton against the Lions at the right time. I'm betting on Derek Carr against Buffalo. I think Derek Carr can beat Buffalo. They're decent. They're not great, Buffalo. They're not good. I know it's a West to East Coast trip, but the NFL, these guys are athletes. They're competitive. I'm betting on Derek Carr. He's coming out. He's airing the ball out. I think they realize that they got to do what they did last year. Just fucking gun it around. That's what Derek Carr's at his best. It's just let him throw it. Trying to run it too much has affected them. Just it's like the Aaron Rodgers thing. We try to run it too much when Rodgers something is dumb. You just got to let him throw the ball. That's what you got to do with Derek Carr. I think they let him throw it and they win this game.
What was the line on that one?
I had 2.5 today.
Okay.
+2.5.
Yeah, I apologize if my lines are a little bit off. But because I ended up doing these on Monday or Tuesday, I think is when I went
it's Wednesday, so they're going to be off compared to Sunday anyways.
Yeah, but I'll just go right into mine because I have this game as well, but I took the under of 45. So Oakland's points this year, before they scored 31 last week against the Chiefs, they scored 16 against the Chargers, 17 Ravens, 10 versus the Broncos, 10 versus the Redskins. I feel like the Bills have more of a similar defense to these teams than what we saw from the Chiefs. So I'm thinking it's going to be more closer to like that 20 to
more closer.
More closer, yeah, that makes sense, right? Were you laughing at that baseball player getting hit in the head by the ball?
Yeah, I couldn't help it. It's like he dove and the ball hit him directly in the hat.
I know.
That's incredible.
It was hard for me to concentrate after I saw that. That was pretty good.
Just knocks his hat right off his head.
Right. Back to Oakland. I think I'm a little bit opposite. I think this might be a little bit more of a letdown against this. So, also in Bills games, if you take out last week's game against the Buccaneers where they combined to score 57 points, no game with the Bills has combined to go over 42 points. So this one's at 45. I know every game is a little bit different, but I'm going to end up taking the under in this game.
Stan's saying to take the over then.
Probably.
Yeah.
My second one, I'm going to save my most confident one for the end here. My second one is the Atlanta Falcons -3.5 at the Jets. And I have no stats after 6 to 7 games from either of these teams that gives me any inkling as to which team should be winning. I'm going to go with yours. This is a true gut feeling. And my eyes are telling me, not my eyes, but my gut's going to tell me that at this point in the year, Jets are going to start sliding. Falcons have to just start playing better. I mean, I think they're too good of a team for them to keep going down this road that they're on. I just feel like this might be that week. I know we've said it a lot. Like, we're still holding out hope that Matt Ryan can return a little bit to what he did last year, and Julio Jones can, maybe build off that one touchdown. But we saw the success that Matt Moore and Kenny Stills had against the Jets last week. There's no reason Matt Ryan and Julio Jones shouldn't just destroy the secondary. So Atlanta 3.5. I don't like the hook on the road. The Jets are a little bit better than what people give them credit for, but it's the time of the year to show your true colors, and the Jets have to start sliding. Falcons have to start winning.
This line stinks.
It does. I don't like it. It's
I don't
stupid.
understand. I this is where Vegas is good because I can see how they could go. Everybody's gonna bet on New York because they play every team close and Atlanta's playing well, or the opposite way. Atlanta's coming off that Patriots loss. They're gonna come out here and smoke them. So it's you can't guess what Vegas knows. They just know more than you. So
right.
They're gonna. I don't know.
I tweeted last night that this line is 3.5. If you'd have seen this line in the preseason, you would have bet all the money that you can find, that you can scrounge up on Atlanta. That line would have just looked silly. But now it's kind of a realistic line.
Yeah. You know what I think is, speaking of tweeting last night, and I texted you this before, I struggled to tweet from our page, and I don't know how you do it, because I feel like in order to run a social media account for a podcast or a business, you have to be kind of a douchebag. And it's hard for me to be a douchebag. I see some of the things you tweet from our page as our social media coordinator, and I just want to blow my brains out.
I'm just happy that I have a title. I'm glad that you.
I just hate it. I can't do it. How do you do it? How does it feel to just I gotta send up this douchey ass tweet right now just to get some people to listen, and react to it? Does that make you feel good, or does it make you feel bad?
No, some of my tweets I just cringe. I'll own up to that. But yeah, I do like the idea of being able to hide behind the podcast name and just tweet some random ass shit too. Mm-hmm. I do like that. So.
Well, now everybody knows it's you.
Right, that is true. Shit, I'm outed.
I just outed you. Sometimes it's me on Sundays.
Yeah.
If it's not a douchey tweet, it's. If it's a douchey tweet, it's not me.
Well, that settles that then. If it's misspelled, it's you.
Yeah, definitely. I will misspell everything. This new Droid system. Okay, for all you Droid users out there, this fucking SMS texting and all this typing is maybe the worst update in the history of America. It doesn't know what words you want to use, ever. It doesn't correct. It'll correct you to a wrong word. It isn't even spelled right. You can't. It'll get your words wrong that are supposed to be spelled right. Aren't you supposed to at least spell the word right for me, even if I'm picking the wrong word? They don't like get anything right. It's awful. I can't text or tweet without having at least 4 words wrong in it, and I don't even care. I just send it anyway.
I think what you should do is you should send them a message from that messaging system, and it'll be all messed up, and they won't be able to read it, and then they'll reply back to you saying, "We don't understand what you're saying," and you'll be like, "Yeah, it's because you're gay, your terrible phone."
Hey, we'll bleep that.
Yeah, that'll be edited out later. If you're hearing this, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
So you had a stone cold lock, you said, this week.
Yep.
All right, my lock. The Los Angeles Chargers +7 at New England. The Chargers' strength is their passing game. They're 8th in the NFL in passing, 251 yards per game. The Patriots' weakness on defense, allowing pass. They're last in the NFL. They allow over 310 passing yards per game, whereas the Patriots' strength offensively is passing, 300 passing yards per game. But the Chargers' secondary has been lights out, a lot better than teams thought it was going to be. They allow under 200 passing yards per game. Both of these teams are in the bottom of the half of rushing yards per game, so I'm not too worried about that. And I do think that New England has improved over the last couple of games. I don't think they're quite as high-flying, both offensively and defensively, as people thought they would be by now. But the Chargers, after starting 0-4, are now winners straight up and against the spread in their last 3 games, all as dogs, by the way, as they are in this one. So when this one's all said and done, I think New England maybe wins. But
a field goal at the end of the game, probably.
Yeah, it's going to be how the Chargers typically lose. It'll be a 1-possession game. It'll be a heartbreaker, and the Chargers will lose way at the end. But I wouldn't be surprised if they even win this game. So those are my 3, but of the one I'm most confident in, I like the Chargers at +7, especially if I can get the hook. Then I'm definitely going that way.
Go, Chargers, go. Yeah, I could probably get on board with that one. I like the Chargers. They're always kind of standing close, and they're on a little bit of a hot streak. Plus, honestly, they have the best pass rush in all of football.
Yeah, they've been
nasty. They have the scariest guys coming off the edge. They'll kill you. And the most depressing thing about the Chargers is Casey Hayward is like a lockdown cornerback for the last 2 years, and he used to be a Green Bay Packer. Right. And now we have the worst secondary ever. So.
Yeah, that's one guy you probably should have wrapped up there in that secondary. That'd have been nice to have.
It's so bad. He's covering, their thing was, put him in the nickel and put him as a slot and cover those guys. And now the Chargers are using him on number 1 wide receivers. He's just shutting them down.
Right. Yeah, he's looked really good. I think he even had another interception last week. It was just a couple of years ago when he led the NFL in interceptions.
Piggybacking off of that, I just want to talk about the Packers for 1/2 second. I'm just going to shout out to Beerfield, to Mitch Renz, Elliott. Devontae Adams is clearly the number 1 wide receiver for Green Bay, and it's been who did you retweet? Mike Clay. Mike Clay.
Yeah.
I had also a little video. I called it. If you're going to try to argue with me about the Packers, you're going to lose. So come at me, bro.
Before we move on to daily fantasy, do you remember when we were little and we played video games and you'd get so mad that you'd punch the ground? Do you know of anyone that's done that recently?
Not punch the ground.
What did he punch?
Who's he?
That one guy that plays basketball for North Carolina that you like so much.
Punch the door.
He punched the door after losing a video game. Joel Berry?
Don't you punch one every now and then? You get pissed, serious game, you're locked in.
Do you think he really punched the wall, or do you think there's a better story to this?
I hope he got drunk, but you know what? National champion. He doesn't need to do good this year, anyways.
How do you pronounce his first name?
Joel.
Joel is just Joel.
Joel Berry.
Joel Berry. So if you're not aware of the story, he plays guard for the North Carolina Tar Heels basketball program. Thanks for clarifying point guard. It's a big part of the story. And
it's a big part of the team.
He lost a video game, decided to punch a door, broke his hand. He's out how many? A couple weeks, a month or so?
It's only 4 weeks, which is 2 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, I'm sort of hoping that this is. I remember back in the day, Brian Greasy was over at Terrell Davis's house, and one of them tripped over a dog and missed some time. And I'm like, no, that is a story because they got wasted at TD's house, and someone got hurt. So there's no way this dude hurt himself playing a video game.
No, probably not. But it's a couple of games. It'll get the freshman a chance. And, I could get a lot of text, but all I have to say is the national champion. No big deal.
Yeah, I still got to watch the end of that game. I'm going to get on that soon.
Yeah, national champion.
Let's start some daily fantasy talk. I've got a stack for you that plays into one of my against the spread picks. It's the stack of Matt Ryan at 8,100.
Stack these nuts.
Stack them all.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan's 8,100. Julio Jones is 8,700. So Matt Ryan, this entire year, has not went over 20 points in a single fantasy game. Julio finally had his first 20-point game last week. And I said in the Against the Spread segment that this was going to be their breakout week. So I think this will be the lowest combined total price that you're going to get these two all year. And if you go back to last week with the Jets, they allowed 27 points to the combination of Jay Cutler and Matt Moore, and they allowed 23.5 to Kenny Stills. So I'm taking Matt Ryan and Julio Jones over Matt Moore and Kenny Stills. So expecting a big week. I think that's a pretty good stack to play.
They suck.
Who?
The fucking Falcons. I still don't trust them. I can't get on board with those guys right now.
And I don't blame you, because I was kind of thinking the same thing about Julio.
And I just can't do it. I think they saw that goal line touchdown, the effort to give the ball. Everybody's going to jump all over that, and Matt Ryan's going to do Matt Ryan things, which is not good.
I do like that stack, but this is my new personal segment within a segment, my stack of the week. My stack of the week is Phillip Rivers and Hunter Henry. Phillip Rivers is only $7,500. Hunter Henry's only $5,500. New England's defense, they're maybe playing a little bit better. I've talked about this before. Rivers is that quarterback that has the experience. It doesn't really matter. He's seen it all. He's still averaging over 16 fantasy points per game, and he's played some tough defenses. 2 of those games have been against Denver, 1 against Miami, 1 against the Giants, who are all pretty solid against the pass. So for him to average 16 against those 4 opponents, that's pretty solid. And I think Henry's kind of that next tight end that's trending towards expensive. We saw Zach Ertz slowly climb, and now he's up there with Kelsey and Gronk. I think Henry's well on his way. Every game that Hunter Henry has logged a catch this year, he's finished with between 8.5 and 11.5 fantasy points per game. And I think the takeover from Antonio Gates is well underway, and I think it's sealed. He outsnapped Antonio Gates 47-18 last week. Played an 81% of the snaps in the game. So Antonio Gates to me isn't a factor anymore in this rotation. I think it's all Hunter Henry moving forward. So that's my stack of the week.
I can get on board with that much more than I'd be on board with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones this week.
That's why it's the stack of the week.
I got some scenarios for you.
Shoot them.
Quarterback. You got Jameis Winston 7,600 and Cam Newton at 7,800. You got to pick one of the two. They're playing against each other.
Yeah.
So Jameis against Carolina, Cam against Tampa Bay. Who you taking?
I've thought about this because I was looking at daily fantasy stuff. That's why. But yeah. I think it's Cam.
That's what DFS stands for, daily fantasy.
Yeah. I think it's Cam for me this week, even though that scares the hell out of me because I had to use him in a standard league last week, and we all know how that worked out. It didn't work out well at all. But like you said, the Tampa Bay secondary is not playing well at all right now. You have Funches and you have Benjamin, who are some of the tallest receivers in the league. Yeah, Funches. And you're going against some of the smallest cornerbacks in Grimes and Hargraves. Just that alone just gives them an advantage. I know they see each other twice a year, so it's not like it's going to be something new to them. You also have Winston coming off of a bit of an injury as well, so he's definitely not 100%. I do like both plays, but if I had to play one, I am going to go with Cam this week. And I hope it pays off because I'm going to be using him in a standard league again after I kind of swore him off.
Yeah, I'm going to be using Jameis in a standard league, and I have the Jameis's league. I think Carolina's going to put up some numbers both on the air and on the ground. But Jameis is always going to air it out.
Yeah.
It's like Doug Martin plays well, but he never gets a chance to score. It seems like they still just throw touchdowns. And now he's got this Howard in the mix, Cameron Braid, freaking Shaw Jackson, and Mike Evans. I feel like with the injury, like the way he played was incredible this last week. So I think that he builds off of that, and I like it. But maybe I'm falling into a trap, but I'm a fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's really falling into a trap. I think it's a great matchup. I don't think you can really deny that. Like you said, Tampa Bay is littered with playmakers. It's just kind of putting it all together, which they haven't really done yet. I don't even know if you mentioned O.J. Howard.
I did.
I must have missed it then. But
I start throwing O.J. Howard into the mix now after last week. Anyways, so talk about who doesn't listen to who now, bitch. So second and last on QBs. Are you risking Big Ben if you're? I know I like to bring up tournaments, so are you risking Big Ben in a tournament on road versus Detroit on Sunday night for only $7,400?
No.
No Martavis Bryant, so we can't play him.
I say you can't even play him, so we don't have to worry about going down that down that shithole. But no, I'm not going to use Ben Roethlisberger. It's the whole I've been fooled way too many times when he's been playing on the road, and now you're playing against the Lions, who aren't awesome against the pass by any means, but they still aren't like an all-out slouch. And I don't like the situation. I think actually taking Martavis Bryant out of the fold and just getting him out of the mix right now could be probably the best thing for them, just to get the distraction away. But I'm not going to go down that. There's too many better ones this week for me.
Are you picking up Juju Smith-Schuster in deeper leagues and maybe even shallow leagues?
I have him in 2 leagues already, to be honest with you.
God, I don't know. I got to look to see if he's available up there. Is he available in our one league? Not that anybody cares about it.
Yeah, I don't remember if he's in that one or not. But
do
yeah,
you have him?
I actually have him in 2 leagues, and I actually used him last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. You keep talking. I'm gonna grab my second beer.
All right. I've got a quarterback for you to avoid in daily fantasy, and it's Deshaun Watson. He's $8,000 at Seattle. He's actually the 5th most expensive quarterback. And if you look at the last 3 opponents that the Seahawks have faced at quarterback, you've got Eli Manning, who scored 7.5. You got Jared Goff, who scored 9.7. Jacoby Brissett at 10.5. We said this a couple weeks ago. Deshaun Watson's going to have a rookie week at some point, and against Seattle, I think I'd be willing to bet that this is the week that he has his off week. So I am avoiding Deshaun Watson, even though he's been a really popular play, and he's just continued to kind of silence the doubters, especially with him being able to get it done on the ground. So in case you missed that, I said I'm avoiding Watson.
I forgot to use a classic Michael Scott line on Juju Smith. I should have said Juju, Mama Voodoo.
Yes,
what you gonna do? I'm really upset.
And I'm gonna use. Yeah, I got him, so I'm using him. So I got a bargain play. My bargain play would be Tyrod Taylor, 7,600 versus Oakland. The hype train, the fan club over there. I like the under in this game. I already talked about that. But like Elliot told us last week, quarterbacks who are a threat to run get a little bit of a bump up in daily fantasy. And he's only had 1 week this entire season where he's at under 6 rush attempts. So if your quarterback is getting at least 6 rushing attempts, you've got a solid chance of picking up an easy extra 3 to 4 points just right there. Oakland's not terrible by any means. Against quarterback, they've held them pretty well in check. But they haven't played that many good ones. They just gave up 25 to Alex Smith. They played Rivers and held them to about 15. But then they played Flacco, Simeon, McCown. When they played Kirk Cousins, they gave up 27. So it seems like Oakland has just been kind of playing to their competition when it comes to quarterbacks. So my bargain pick at quarterback is going to be your boy Tyrod.
Yeah, I'm always on board with playing the big dick of Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor.
That's my boy. Ty God. T-Mobile. Thyroid. Let's go.
Thyroid.
Get on board. I'll always be on that fucking shit.
Who's your running back? Because I'll just jump into one because it relates to Tyrod here. If you're going to go expensive, I actually like LaShawn McCoy. He's $8,400 going against Oakland, obviously. Last week, he finally scored a touchdown. Bills are 4-2. They're in the thick of things. I think against Oakland, like you said, Oakland's going to try to throw the ball here and just get back to their offense of last year. I think Buffalo could also just kind of use this game as an opportunity to get McCoy going and run the ball, control the clock, and I think McCoy's touchdowns might start coming in bunches here. I think he's going to be a really big fantasy player moving forward here.
Yeah, I think he'll be huge. I might try to go out and get him, so hopefully nobody that we play with listen to, or at least the person who has LaShawn McCoy.
Right. You just got to avoid one guy.
Yeah. You want me to throw another scenario at you here? I'm scenario guy tonight.
I'm ready.
All right, Le'Veon Bell. $9,400. That's quarterback. We're talking. That's quarterback.
Man, yeah, that's rich.
Probably going to continue to get 30 touches a game. I think that you use him. Maybe use him no matter what. He's that good. Like he's going to get 30 touches. Because let's think about this. Roethlisberger, it seems as if he's is on a decline, and clearly Tomlin sees that. So they call the plays tailored towards Le'Veon Bell. So whether it's throwing the ball to him handing the ball to him, he's getting 1,000 fucking touches.
Yeah.
How do you? I still use him at 9,400. Like, you can't. I don't think you can stop me from using him.
So. Oh, go ahead.
If this is like all going to compare to each other, like, do you use him no matter what? I do. So I'm going to answer my own question. The question I want to pair to you is, if you're going to use him, which I am, I got 2 running backs for you. What cheap RB do you pair with him? I've got an answer. Cohen at 5,800. At the Saints, start Cohen, or Mike Gillisley at 5,400. I picked these 2 specifically for their matchups at the Chargers.
Well, first I'm gonna
versus the Chargers, not at.
Yeah, first I'm gonna answer your first question that you already answered, and then I'll answer your second question that you already answered. But the first one, yeah, I would use Le'Veon Bell this week because I think it was Mitch that pointed out to us a couple weeks ago when Steelers are on the road and Ben struggles. If the Steelers are in the game, it's because of Le'Veon Bell. He puts up monster road numbers. So I don't think you really need to worry about him there, and he's that guy that's going to get his touches no matter who they play because he's such a factor through the air as well. And if you're getting a half-point PPR, that actually makes him even better.
He's so sick. I literally have a little bit of a chubby every time I watch him play football. Like, stiff arm he threw on the guy this week after he faked the guy out and then cut to the left and then just threw a stiff arm in the dude's face. Like, boner.
Well, between that and, I don't know, I just can't get over the fact that just watching him sit behind that line, just the patience that he has, finding the hole, and then even if he gets hit after like 3 yards, he's falling another 3-4 yards forward.
He's so good.
Yeah, so then your hypothetical here was Gillisley and Cohen?
Gillisley or Cohen.
So you have Gillisley versus the Chargers, and Cohen was against the Saints. I like Cohen. Just for the fact that the Bears have proven that they're just going to try to run the ball, and that's going to be mostly Howard, but Cohen will get sprinkled in there. And if you remember from last week when Trubisky threw for 107 yards, 70 of them came to Cohen. So they're going to try to find a way to get him the ball. Gillisley has had two weeks in a row where I think he's had under 10 carries. Up to that, he's had at least 10 carries per game. I know the Patriots' game plan shifts like week by week when it comes to running backs. But I'm gonna be in the boat where I need the Patriots and Gillisley to prove it before I would use him. So in this situation, I would use Cohen.
I was leaning Cohen at first, but the more I looked at some stuff, I am actually leaning Gillisley this week. Game plan for Belichick, I think, against the Chargers is going to be to run the ball, as I think you had kind of pointed to. I mean, I guess for the Patriots against the Chargers, it's going to be to run the ball. They give up a lot of rushing yards, the Chargers. And I think they're going to run a lot of fullback and straight-ahead rushing with Gillisley. I think he gets back on that touchdown train. I like Gillisley this week. I think this is the week that he kind of bounces back. I know since he had that fumble, Belichick is famous, punish the guy for fumbling. But he'll bring him back into the mix. I think this is that week against a team that they need to run it against that struggles against the run. And that needs to keep those outside linebackers out at bay. I really like Gillisley this week.
Yeah, the matchup makes sense in that everything that you just said makes sense. I just give us I'm genius. But I will say I have 2 guys that are probably close to that price range that I had written down that I do like as well. I have LeGarrette Blount. He's only 6,100 versus the 49ers.
Oh, God.
Blount has been like Gillisley. He's at under 10 points his last 3 games. But that Phillies offense is starting to roll. They've only scored less than 26 one time, and they still scored 20 in that game. So that offense has been pretty solid. And looking at the last few running backs that the 49ers have played, Zeke, 40.5 points. Chris Thompson, 16. When they played the Colts, they gave up 16 to Mack and 10 to Gore, so 26 there. And then they gave up 35.5 to Gurley. So even if Blount isn't the lead back, if Blount isn't the lead back here, that's a lot to say. It was. I still like him. And then my other bargain guy was Joe Mixon, who I have not touched at all this entire year.
He would punch the shit out of you, I bet.
Yeah, he would knock, well, probably you. You're
He'd
more.
He'd probably punch Gurley.
He would punch Gurley. He would crush Gurley.
Shit.
He's only 5,900 versus the Colts. He got a little vocal last week about his touches, but I don't think this is a situation where he gets vocal and the coaches get mad and discipline him. Rather, I think they listen to him. Colts are 26 versus the rush. They just got torched by Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon. So it would be wise of the Bengals to I mean, they gave Mixon 7 carries in the first half last game. That's fine. Do it again. Let him finish with 14, 15 carries. And then if he gets a touchdown, I'm looking at 60, 70 yards and a touchdown for $5,900. That'd be a pretty solid bargain for Mixon.
Do you remember people trying to say this the Niners defense is going to be better against the run this year and that they wouldn't be on? Because remember how bad they were? They were the worst against the run last year.
They were giving it up.
They're still the worst against the run.
Yeah.
That was one of those things. I was you can't just turn around and see what the Packers pass defense. You're not going to just turn it around because you have a decent draft. And you think your GM made the right moves.
And especially if those guys aren't playing. Like Foster's not even playing now because he's hurt again.
Well, he was playing.
I have one hypothetical for you here.
They just suck, though.
Niners always suck.
Always suck. They're the worst. Wasn't it just isn't it crazy how they just went from 13 wins to 2 in a year?
Yeah, man. Kaepernick was just a problem for everyone, and the defense was awesome, and Anquan Bolden was still able to move.
It was wild.
Yeah. My hypothetical at running back for you, Mark Ingram is $7,200 versus the Bears. He's the 7th most expensive running back. Is he going to keep his streak of 100-plus rushing yards and a touchdown going this week?
Well, I think they got to stick with what they're winning games right now, right? So I think they got to stick with giving the ball to Mark Ingram.
And that should be about 20 carries.
Yeah, and he's going to get obviously the goal line carries. And I think that mix of just him and Kamara and not having Adrian Peterson there, as I said on Sunday night, is helping him a ton. Getting Adrian Peterson out there to let them refocus on actually trying to keep a little bit more balance. And they have a good running back. You don't have to air it out with Drew Brees all the time. I think that's when he almost struggles nowadays. Now that he's getting a little older, and he can barely see over the line with his head cocked. But I think, 100 yards, Chicago. I wish I would have looked up their run defense stats this week, but they did struggle against Green Bay. But Green Bay always runs on. Wait, sorry, that was a wrong game.
No, they've been okay against the run this year. They've been pretty solid.
I'm trying to think because I always thought their front seven was pretty good. I don't think he keeps the 100-yard streak going though. But they'll give him the ball.
That's the thing. I think for that price point, you're still okay using him. Just because he is going to get those touches. I mean, he's been getting around 20 ever since Peterson left, and the backfield's become more of all right, on running downs, more obvious running downs, it's Ingram. When we want to mix it up, then we're moving to Kamara. Yeah. And that's been working.
If he gets 80 yards and a touchdown or two,
it's still good. Yeah. Wide receiver for daily fantasy. I've got some quick hit bargain guys here. I'm just going to run through them.
My guy. I haven't looked at your thing.
I've got Demaryius Thomas, 6,900 at the Chiefs.
Nice.
We just saw what Cooper and the Raiders did. Kansas City's past D just hasn't been the same without Barry, so I like Thomas. I like Adam Thielen, 6,700 at Cleveland.
Racist.
Yeah, it is kind of a racy move here. Cleveland's 6th against the run, just 16th against the pass. Diggs is still banged up with an ankle and a groin. I think it's a big bounce back week for Thielen. We talked about these two earlier. Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess are only $6,600 and $6,500. I would watch the injury report on Kelvin Benjamin to make sure he's totally healthy. But if you have any doubts about Benjamin, definitely go with Funchess because they're getting matched up against two corners that are 5'10" and under. So I'd like both of those. And then finally, Mama Juju Smith-Schuster. He got his bike back, and now he's going to get the number 2 role in that Pittsburgh receiver corps. So it's only $5,500 at Detroit. The whole Martavis Bryant situation, we've talked about that. He's going to be the clear number 2 guy now. Little leery on Big Ben struggling, but for $5,500, I think it's worth the bargain. So those are my bargain receivers.
I got one guy only, speaking of bargain, that I'm going to talk about right here. I'm going to talk about a little guy who plays for Philadelphia Eagles. Only $6,000. And he has 5 touchdowns. It continues to impress on the slot for Philadelphia. And he's going up against the bad San Francisco D, as I said. And I just don't understand why no one's talking to him. I've started playing him in my regular leagues. FanDuel, DraftKings, Standard Leagues. This guy has consistently been a flex, or if not a number 2 wide receiver as of late. Nelson Aguilar, balling right now. Why is nobody talking about him?
I don't know, man, because he literally came out of nowhere, and like you said, what's he have, 5 touchdowns?
Yeah, 5 touchdowns.
And they've all been like fairly impressive too, like plays like either with his catches or after the ball. A couple of weeks ago, he put that dude in a spin cycle.
Yeah. Some guys take a second to get it together. He did.
Yeah, and that's literally what it is. What's it, his third year?
Yeah.
That's usually like when receivers start to blossom. I loved Alshon Jeffrey. I still have high hopes for him this year. But Aguilar, he's like stealing the show there. Him and Ertz.
I fucking love Aguilar.
Yeah, he's been solid. I thought about adding him onto my list as well. I
drafted him in 2 out of 3 of my leagues, and it's paying off for me.
Yeah, I'm just thinking at some point Alshon's got to have a week, but he wasn't all that expensive either. But if you're going bargain, yeah, Aguilar's your boy.
He is like unstoppable out of the slot right now. He's so quick. He's almost like, you know who he reminds me of is the way he runs routes. He's like, and then catches the ball and just takes off. And it's like Odell Beckham Jr. Like,
oh yeah,
the way he cuts and runs routes, and then the way he can just blast off real quick off the slant, just has those long strides for not super tall guy. It's like Odell Beckham Jr. Like, he plays taller than bigger than he actually is as well. So I'm enjoying watching Nelson Aguilar this year.
Yeah, I like him as well. Got him in a couple standard leagues, at least one, and then not opposed to using him in FanDuel by any means. A hypothetical here. So if you're going to go expensive at receiver, although I do think it's a good week to go expensive at running back and bargain receiver, but if you do go expensive at receiver, I'm going to give you 4 guys here. Which one are you more likely to use? You got Antonio Brown, 9,200 at Detroit. AJ Green, 8,500 versus Indianapolis. Des Bryant, 8,300 at Washington Redskins. Racist again.
Yep.
And Mike Evans, $8,200 versus Carolina.
Well, I assume Josh Norman's going to be back, so I'm not taking Des Bryant. Mike Evans is going to get a lot of attention, but I still love him. Antonio Brown's Antonio Brown. AJ Green's AJ Green. I mean, this is tough. Des Bryant's out for me. So I am immediately eliminating Des Bryant from my list here. Wipe him out. Get out of there.
I actually almost predicted that. I almost left him off to begin with.
Yes. Mike Evans, I like. God, but I'm going to wipe him off of there. I think that he's going to get a shit ton of attention because he just continues to get targets. So for me, it's between Antonio Brown because Roethlisberger's going to force feed him the ball no matter what, and AJ Green. I'm going to go AJ Green because he's, number one, like the only option out there. He continues to like lead the league in receiving yards or be up there, and he's playing the Colts. So I think if he doesn't, he needs to go off in the first half. It seems like a game where he needs to get off real early. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly quick. But I'm a big AJ Green fan. He continues to like show how he's just one of the best wide receivers to play the game. If you look at this guy's historical numbers, he's one of the fastest. But like, I don't know what the specific number is, but he's like one of the best yards wide receivers in the league history. So I'm gonna go with AJ Green here at 8,500. I think he puts on a show versus Indianapolis this week. And Andy Dalton's going to continue to throw on the ball as long as he stays healthy.
Part of me hopes at some point Cincinnati just goes into like all-out rebuild mode and trades him to a contender because I want to see how he does with a legit offensive line and quarterback. Like I just think we've seen so many great things from AJ Green, but it could be even better. I listen to the Dan Le Batard show pretty much every day, and they were talking about the Royal Rumble, and if every starting NFL quarterback was in a Royal Rumble, who would win and who would be the first out? And someone said that Andy Dalton would definitely be the first person out, and then they said, but AJ Green would come out of nowhere and catch him and put him back in.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of like, you wish you could see him, but there's another guy in the city of Cincinnati. I wish could go to some. I wish could go somewhere else and just maybe win a World Series and get a chance to. And his name is Joey Votto.
Yeah, nothing like wasting another career.
What?
So nothing like wasting another career.
I know he like. We're not a baseball podcast, but we like sports. You and I. He's like literally one of the best hitters of our generation, and nobody gets to notice that.
No one sees it because he's in a tiny market.
I see
Baseball's not big there, and they don't win. So they haven't won in a few years, so it's not like it's...
a few years. One of the best hitters of our generation. You look at the guy's stats, you watch the guy hit, and you'll actually see that it's like, oh my God, I'm missing off out of him the best hitter. He's like I think he's like a better hitter than what Albert Pujols.
Well, it's for average and power too. Maybe not the power of Pujols, but probably not as many steroids as Pujols either.
Correct.
Who do you got? Astros or Dodgers?
Fuck,
not tonight in the whole series.
I gotta go the Dodgers.
Oh, see, I'm gonna go with the Stros.
I got that first one. They're gonna get Kate Glacial back sometime in this series. I think they win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Stros because my autographed Jose Altuve bat is looking to hit the market, and I'm waiting for him to win the MVP, and then
I told you to take that one too.
Sell that puppy.
Yeah, I remember you asking me specifically who should I get, and I go fucking Altuve. Yep. I don't even know anything about him. I just like his
name. The little guy, but he gets it done. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other receivers you want to talk about, or should we move to tight end?
I got nothing on anybody after wide receivers. So.
Oh, well, let's keep talking about the Bengals because my bargain tight end is Tyler Kroft. $5,700 versus the Colts. He's done a pretty good job filling in for Eifert. In 2 of the games this year without Eifert, he's had a 21-point game and he's had a 10-point game. And when the Colts, so I was going to agree with you that A.J. Green was my pick there. The Colts are 31st against the pass for fantasy points. So
perfect. I can look up numbers.
If I'm going to go expensive at receiver, I do like A.J. Green this week. And bargain tight end, I really like Tyler Kroft. So I guess that means if I wanted to do another stack, I would do A.J. Green and Andy Dalton. But I do love that Rivers Hunter Henry stack as well. And since
I'm a big Tyler Kroft fan. I picked him up last week, scored a touchdown. I'm going to keep him on my team this week and not stream another tight end.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
Keeping a tight end. Who are you?
I am. This is wild. This is the first week I haven't streamed a tight end.
That is awesome. You kind of hit on this guy already. I'm going to ask you though. O.J. Howard, he's only $5,200. Are you going to take the bait?
Well, I mentioned him on Sunday. I'm not because Cameron Brate's still going to be the main guy. He's going to get the red zone targets. They left him down in the red zone. He's going to be more likely to score the touchdowns. They had some great design plays to get him open. But no, I'm not. He had a great game because of the play designs. But Cameron Brate is the red zone guy, and he's great in red zone. He won't be there much longer, so great keeper league pick. Not a good pick this week, which a lot of people are probably going to be stupid to take him in.
Yeah, after 2 touchdowns, that name's going to be hot. I like both Henry and Kroft this week, so I'm still going to go bargain, but I'm not going to go quite that cheap. But I think I'm going to get maybe not a better player, but a better fantasy output out of those 2.
Definitely better fantasy. Yeah, clearly not a better player. Close.
I got to ask you another question. Our Twitter pre-podcast poll today was, who will DJ attack next on Twitter? It ended up being a tie between friend of the podcast Mitchell Renz and soon-to-be friend of the podcast, his co-host Jordan. So, are you going to keep it a secret, or who do you think it's going to be?
Well, I sent a little tweet to what she responded to Mitch, and I said, I won't bite hard. One of those stupid little jokes that was kind of hard list. No response.
You didn't get a response from her?
No, so I think I'm going to continue to go back after that well. So we'll see what happens.
Wow.
And I guarantee she's not listening, so hopefully Mitch warns her or doesn't warn her. I don't know what I want more. Yeah. Hopefully she's drinking at the office the way they do, and I can get her a little tipsy a little bit.
And then
I can catch her while she's a little tipsy, and maybe she'll send me a response back.
I like it. So, yeah, we definitely want to get her on the podcast. But besides her, if you could have one person guest on our podcast, who are you taking? Who are you trying to get on here?
Is this a real question?
Yeah.
I don't even need to answer this.
Why?
Why? What do you mean? Who would I? Well, there's only one person I would ever want.
Yeah, but
everybody can predict this.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be boring. He's not going to talk.
Okay, then Steve Carell.
That's a good answer. I'm still going with Miko Grimes. I want Miko on here.
That's a good one.
I will not quit this podcast until fucking Miko Grimes joins us.
I could see Carell on here, and I would just talk Office and say Office lines the entire time.
That would be fun.
I want to see if he could ad-lib while we talk. That would be incredible.
Oh, I'm sure he could.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another FanDuel this week?
I think I don't have any money, but I can try it out.
We'll get some more thrown in there. We had our FanDuel last week. I want to give a shout out to Swamps10. 140 points last week, taking the cake, winning it against me. I think we finished 4th and 5th respectively.
Fucking Swamps.
Swamp won it. So you got a bold prediction for us for week 8?
Oh shit! No, you got to go.
Okay, here's mine. I kind of already
Alluded.
alluded to it, yeah.
You're welcome.
Derek Carr, Oakland Raiders struggle against the Bills defense. If they win, it's going to be similar fashion to the Chiefs game where it's going to come right down to the wire. I could see the Raiders winning this puppy like 21-17, just something crazy at the end.
Very nice. How much? Phil, that was bad radio right there. It was a little dead air, right?
No, that's fine. That's what we do. We're sloppy by design.
I know. This is a really tough one. I'm going to say that the Niners, they don't win this week, but they keep it within 3 points
Wow, that's really bold.
against the Eagles. I think they keep it close because that's what they've been doing. They struggled this last week, and everybody expected them to stay close. I think they lead the league in 10-play drives, so they do have pretty good balance on their offensive side. I say they keep it within 3 points of the Eagles.
That has been a thing, though. They
Make
like
them a
get
little scared.
yeah, they get a drive going, and then it just either stalls or a turnover, or just not really able to hang that way. I like it though. It's a bold prediction. I'm gonna say it doesn't happen, but I'm gonna go 2-0 here on my bold predictions the last 2 weeks.
Very penis face.
Got anything else for us today?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. If you're going to listen on Wednesday night, make sure you tune in the ESPN, watch a little Lonzo Ball. Hopefully we get a dad press conference at the end of that. That's been great to watch, by the way. Anyone that's anti-LeVar Ball and interviewing after the games, tell me why.
He's a fucking idiot.
It's entertaining. I'd listen to that guy all day.
I can't believe you're falling in that fucking trap.
Who cares? It's entertaining. It's so great.
You're the reason I want to kill myself.
That's another guy. Okay, I'm between Miko Grimes and LeVar Ball for our next podcast.
I would not show up for that podcast.
Oh, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Me and LeVar would go back and forth all day. Nice. Well, thanks for listening. As always, tweet any questions you have to us on Twitter at LoadedBox. Like and share the Facebook page. Check us out on iTunes. Leave us a review. I think that's all we have. So enjoy Week 8 in the NFL, and we will be back on Sunday after the late games to break down all the action.
Bye.